Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Today we're looking at the reprints that are going to be featured within Duel Link's main box 30, which is also known as Shining Hope. If you like the video, make sure to comment down below and don't forget to subscribe. Any support is very much appreciated. Now, Bujin Mikazuchi is one of those Beast Warrior types that I mentioned before within the Bujin archetype, who has the can only be on its own on the field. You can't have another one of these types on there. That's just so it kind of supports one base monster with all the other support. It's a light attribute Beast Warrior level 4 with 1900 attack and 1500 defense. Its effect is when a Beast Warrior type Bujin monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn during the end phase, if a Bujin monster was sent from your hand to your graveyard this turn, while you control this face-up card, you can add one Bujin spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. You can only control one Bujin Mikazuchi. So the whole point of this is with the Bujin archetype, they support one base monster, and actually to trigger a lot of the effects, they actually have to be discarded from the hand, so you're not losing anything, you're getting the bonus of those discard effects, plus you're able to search for one of the Bujin spell or traps that will help support the deck that much further. Bujingi Centipede is a light beast level 4 with 1700 attack and 500 defense. And the effect is if you control a Beast Warrior type Bujin monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one spell or trap card your opponent controls, destroy that target. You can only use the effect of Bujingi Centipede once per turn. So this is great in terms of its being generic spell or trap removal for your Bujin archetype. So long as you have one of these Beast Warriors on your field, you're good to go. You're actually able to do things and kind of stop your opponent, especially if they've not got any sort of reactive traps. If they're all battle traps like Drowning Mirror Force, anything like that, then those can't trigger in response to this effect. Bujin Hirume is a light Beast Warrior at level 4 with 2000 attack and 1000 defense. It cannot be normal summoned or set. It must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing one Bujin monster from your graveyard, except itself. If this card, which was summoned this way, is destroyed by your opponent's card, either by battle or card effect, and sent from your side of the field to the graveyard, and both players have a hand, you can discard one card, then your opponent discards one card. You can only control one Bujin Hirume. This card is actually quite decent for what it can do. First, it's one of these ones that gets support, like the previous one, Mikazuchi. The other thing is, provided you both have a hand, and assuming you're not too fussed at what you discard, you can actually force your opponent, if they don't have a very semi-limited hand, to get rid of a card that they might have been keeping hold of, to use it as a reserve if their strategy went badly. Lena the Light Charmer is a light attribute spellcaster level 3 with 500 attack and 1500 defense. The effect is, it's a flip effect, take control of one light monster your opponent controls while this card is face up on the field. The only reason I can see it being part of a reprint within this set is because quite a few cards are light attribute in this theme. That's the only reason. It's not that useful unless you can somehow protect this card. Sishunda is a light attribute Thunder type level 4 with 900 attack and 400 defense. The effect is when this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 4 light Thunder type monster with 1600 or less attack in your graveyard except itself. Banish that target during the end phase of this turn, add that card to your hand. Essentially what this does is it lets you recover a monster. This strategy doesn't really work. You don't have too many Thunders out there, except for perhaps you've got Watts, and you've also got the Thunder Dragons themselves. Outside of that, it's not particularly that useful. The next card is Bujin Unity. It's a normal spell card. With the effect, if you control no other cards and have at least one other card in your hand, shuffle all Beast Warrior type Bujin monsters from your graveyard into the deck, at least one, and if you do, send your entire hand to the graveyard, minimum one. Then you can add up to 3 Beast Warrior type Bujin monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Bujin unity per turn. So the whole point of this card is it returns all of your Beast Warrior type Bujin monsters. They're all your key component cards to summon, and they're supported by various other cards. So if you've lost those, this is a way of actually getting back into the duel. It does require you to at least expend a card, but if you're recovering several cards, from your graveyard, and also being able to actually search for these again, it's very good recovery in comparison to many of the things that are currently out in Duel Links. The next card is Photon Lead. This is a quick play spell card with the effect special summon 1 level 4 or lower light monster from your hand in face-up attack position. So this card is useful as a defensive card. It can help actually stop your opponent maybe OTKing you, or at least reduce the damage for the time being. Also, you've got examples of actual cards which kind of benefit if they're run over. So you've got Shining Angel there, and you've got Nova Summoner. If either of those go to the graveyard, you get basically up to a 1,500 attack monster. In the case of Nova Summoner, though, if you've got Sanctuary in the Sky, the field spell, that's live, you can actually go into your Air Knight Parshath, which is a level 5 with 1,900 attack, 1,400 defense. That has the effect of both piercing and being able to draw a card every time it inflicts damage. Spiritual Light Art Hijira is a normal trap card with the effect tribute 1 light monster to target 1 banished monster. Your opponent can reveal 1 trap card from their hand to negate this card's effect. Otherwise, you can special summon that monster. There are a few monsters that actually work alongside the banishing anyway. You've got Soul of Purity of Light, and there are various other cards which, banish in order to use those effects. So that actually works with this. The problem is it does give your opponent the chance to respond if they have that trap card in their hand by simply revealing it. Your strategy is completely removed, because you also you have to get rid of a light monster first in order to actually use this as a cost. Bujingi Turtle is a light beast, level 4 with 1,700 attack and 1,200 defense. Its effect is during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets a Bujin monster you control, except during a damage step, you can banish this card from the graveyard and negate that effect. This is particularly useful if your opponent is trying to use things like any kind of removal anyway. You've got Blowback Dragon, you've got Barrel Dragon, Desperado Dragon, various other removal cards, even like Spell or Traps. By actually getting rid of this, you protect your Beast Warrior monster, essentially the larger Bujins, in order to keep them on the field and waste your opponent's resources. Because essentially, when this card is in the graveyard, it has double utility. It has a decent stat lineup for a level 4, and also when it's gotten rid of, it has that extra level of protection. Bujingi Wag is a light beast level 4 with 1,200 attack and 1,900 defense. The effect is, while this card is in face-up defense position, other Bujin monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. I think there's also one that has a very similar stat lineup that prevents them from being destroyed by battle as well. So if you pair those 2 cards with your Beast Warrior monster, you've actually got a decent level wall that your opponent isn't going to be able to get over that easily. Although saying that, Drowning Mirror Force is still a thing, and that would still rip through this kind of strategy, but it's better than nothing, and it's probably your best kind of protection as of now. Bujingi Pavo is a light winged beast level 4 with 1,700 attack and 800 defense. The effect is when a Beast Warrior type Bujin monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon one Bujin monster from your deck. You can only use the effect of Bujingi Pavo once per turn. Okay, so you can essentially just trade one of your Beast Warrior types for another one. It helps to kind of cycle through the deck, thin the deck, and also it just benefits you because you're just getting rid of maybe something that you might not need for that moment and getting something potentially better. Pahunda is a light attribute thunder type, level 4 with 1300 attack and 600 defense. Its effect is once per turn you can normal summon one level 4 light thunder type monster from your hand except Pahunda as an additional normal summon. This is effective for maybe Watts, and you've got the other Hunda monsters, but really, other than that, it's just not that useful. It does provide an additional, summon, which is okay for field presence. Mahunda is a light thunder level 4 with 1400 attack and 700 defense. The effect is once per turn you can normal summon one level 4 light thunder type monster from your hand, except itself as an additional normal summon. It's basically the same effect as the previous one. I think this is just slightly stronger. There isn't really much to say. There aren't too many decks that rely on this outside of, like I said, Watts. So the next card we have is Light Ray Sorcerer. This is a light attribute spellcaster level 6 with 2300 attack and 2000 defense. Its effect is it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand while 3 or more of your light monsters are banished. It cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn, you can target one of your banished light monsters and one face-up monster on the field. Shuffle the first target into the deck, and if you do, banish the second target. This card cannot attack during the turn you activate this effect. So it's a little bit of a watered-down Chaos Sorcerer, because that can just immediately use its effect. This is kind of reliant on you having light attributes that are banished to use it. The trade-off isn't too bad, getting 3 of your light monsters banished, if you're running that style of deck, is relatively easy. And out of the reprints we've seen so far, this is definitely noteworthy as decent. Bujin Regalia the Mirror is a normal spell card with the effect at the start of your main phase 1, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, and you control a Beast Warrior type Bujin monster, until the end of your opponent's next turn, spell, trap cards, and their effects cannot be activated. This provides you with a significant amount of advantage because if you've got the right resources currently, even if it's just in your hand, being able to access that and being able to stop your opponent from doing anything for their turn means that you've got a free out. It's a little bit like having a cold wave, but specifically for your Bujin archetype. The next card is Photon Veil. This is a normal spell card with the effect shuffle 3 light monsters from your hand into the deck, then add 1 level 3, 1 to 3 level 4 or lower light monsters from your deck to your hand. If you add 2 or more monsters, they must have the same name. The point of this is actually there's a card called Daybreaker, which lets itself kind of be special summoned if you've got one already by kind of searching it. So I think that's the whole idea of why it's introduced. I remember it being used by Kite in the anime, but he would only use that, I think, in the first duel against Yuma. If it had been used more than that, I can't think of it to my memory. The next card is a normal spell card called Light of Redemption. Its effect is pay 800 life points, then you target one of your banished light monsters, and you can add that target to your hand. This is consistent if that's something you need to do, maybe recovering things. There's certain cards, like I know some of the agents kind of banish, so that's why that kind of works with them and synergizes quite well. The 800 life point loss it depends on what situation you are and how big and important that card is. If it's decent, it's fine. If not, this could be a wasted draw. And the final card as a reprint is Bujinfidel. it's a normal trap card with the effect tribute 1 Beast Warrior type Bujin monster, then target 1 Bujin monster with a different name in your graveyard and special summon that target. So it's you're trading on one of the Bujins for a different one. It's not that impressive unless, say, for example, you're in your battle phase, you think you can actually beat your opponent, and you can basically double attack for that turn. I would consider it a little bit like Beast Soul Swap, which is specifically for the Beast type. So what do you think of the reprints? Is there anything in particular you liked, or was there anything you didn't like so much? For me, the only thing I really liked was the Light Ray Sorcerer being reprinted. Everything else was kind of under the radar. I don't see myself using. If you have any feedback or anything you want to put, please make sure to put that down below in the comments. Like the video and don't forget to subscribe.